Ladies and gentlemen, our very first storyteller of the night, Bart Sullivan, telling his story, You Never Forget.
So, is that working? Okay, because I'm not even hearing it. There's a phrase that everybody seems to use when they're talking about something that's really easy to do. That phrase is, that phrase is, it's as easy as, exactly, it's as easy as riding a bike. You never forget. The thing is, I wouldn't know anything about that because I never actually learned to ride a bike. I was about 9 or 10 years old when I decided that it was finally time to take the training wheels off my bike and learn to ride a two-wheeler. I had the nasty habit of making a lot of friends in school who lived too far away from home, from where I lived to walk to, and I figured if I was going to hang out with anybody, I obviously needed to learn to ride. I had this practice, but obviously it's not working. So that weekend, my dad took me across the street from our house where there's a large parking lot. It's about half the size of the one across the street, but it doesn't have the nasty inhibitors scattered every couple spots. It's on a hill, because it's on a hill, it makes it a little difficult to do some things, but it's still flat enough that you can roller skate, learn to drive, and even ride bikes in the lot when it's empty. I've used it for the latter too. So, as I said, my dad took me across the street to the lot, took the training wheels off, and I got on. I was ready. So I got on, both feet on, hands on the handlebars, and I went. And I went. Dad was holding onto the back of the bike, and I don't know whether he was ever actually holding on or I just thought he was, or whenever he let go. But all I know is I kept going and going and going. And I kept going to the point that as I looked up, I saw the edge of the parking lot. And the brick hill alongside the parking lot. And the street where all the traffic was. And as I kept going, all I could think of was, how do I stop? How do I stop? How do I stop? How do I stop? Pedal, pedal, pedal. No, that's not it. That's not it. Pedal, pedal. I got it. Pedal backwards. Pedal backwards, pedal backwards, pedal backwards. Wasn't working. I don't know why it wasn't working, but it wasn't working. Pedal backwards, pedal backwards. All of a sudden, the bike did stop. I don't know if it was actually the pedaling backwards or the back of my bike being grabbed. All I know is I stopped at the very edge of the parking spot just before tumbling over the slope. So by that point, I decided I'd had it for the day. I wasn't going to try to learn anymore. The next weekend, though, I decided now that I'd already started trying to learn, there was no point in stopping. I was going to try again. So went across the street and tried again. Only this time, it was different. Instead of going straight towards traffic, I decided to turn left. Now, turning left led to the stone wall alongside the adjacent street. Wasn't so bad because I knew if I turned left, I had enough time to turn before I hit that wall. No problem. There was no traffic there. Nothing to hit me. So I started pedaling, and pedaling, and pedaling. And as I was pedaling, I watched the ground. Because I figured the last time, I was nearing the edge of the parking lot. So if I was watching the ground, it made sense that I would see where the edge of the parking lot was before I hit it. So watching the ground, I kept pedaling and pedaling and pedaling. Kept pedaling because I was so confident that until I looked up and saw as I hit face first into the side of a pleasantly colored yellow bus. Apparently, I hadn't paid attention to the fact that there is a school bus parked at the side of the parking lot. And yes, my mother is trying not to laugh right now. So as I look up from hitting face first into that parked school bus, I decide that's about it. You know what? I've already almost fallen over the hill. I've already hit a parked bus. I've had it. Not for me. Riding a bike is definitely not for me. I tried a couple years later, but both of those horrifying events basically said, no, this part of my life just isn't happening at all. So I'd given up on riding a bike, but the one key event in that story didn't forget about me, though. And that key event was buses. So hop in your TARDIS 10 years later. I'm driving home from work one Monday night, and I'm driving home from work Monday night, because I actually did learn to drive, same lot, but there was no buses in there to stop me from doing that. Driving home from work one night is Monday night. I want to get home and get some homework done because I'm in college at that time, and I know I have to get it done before it gets too late. So I cross this intersection, and suddenly get behind what else but a parked city bus. The bus had stopped to let passengers out, so I sit there and I wait. And I wait, and I wait. Probably only waited a couple seconds, but it felt a lot longer to me at that point, especially when just getting out of work. So, deciding that I wasn't going to wait any longer, I look into the left lane to see if there's any traffic coming. I'm clear, ready to turn. I was clear in the left lane. I didn't pay attention to in front of me, though, because as I turned into the left lane to get around the bus, all I could see and hear was my car and the back of the bus scratching across the front of my car. The crazy thing is the bus was not harmed whatsoever. My car, on the other hand, well, that was my first car accident and my first ticket. They both wouldn't be my last, but it would be the last time a parked bus stood in the way mocking me. So remember this the next time you use the phrase.
It's as easy as riding a bike.
Exactly. It's as easy as riding a bike. I may never have learned to ride a bike, but I definitely never forgot.